And welcome back to another episode of Born to Talk About Sports. I am your host, Steve Bourne, and today we're actually going to talk about something I've been trying to avoid for a while, actually, and that's the Major League Baseball lockout. Um, Apparently, it is money. Surprise, surprise. What's separating the two, but they've actually come to agreement on some different rule changes that I'm actually looking forward to. First of all, is the universal DH. They had a taste of it in the very shortened 2020 60-game season, the COVID season, essentially, with no fans except for the World Series for the most part. No one wants to see the pitchers hit. It's an embarrassment to the game. Excuse me one second. It's an embarrassment to the game to see pitchers hit because, let's face it, that all they're trying to do is not get hurt. And especially in interleague play where you see the pitcher take, basically the bat doesn't leave his shoulders or he takes one swing. It's a joke. It's an embarrassment. The only pitcher you really want to see hit now is Shohei Ohtani. Let's face it, for the obvious reasons. But again, the universal DH it's a rule that should have been brought in a long time ago. They brought it into the All-Star game a few years ago, which should never have happened with All-Star games in National League parks, making All-Star American League pitchers hit. But again, yeah, universal DH looks like from here on out, whenever the season starts, is here to play. And it also evens up things, because let's face it, when especially in the World Series, when an American League team goes to a National League, they lose a batter. But when a National League team goes to an American League park, they actually will not gain a batter. So it's a loss for the American League either way. Now it opens things up. Also makes life easier for broadcasters and the umpires as well to avoid these double switches, so you can get the batter in the right batting spot to when he's coming up the next inning and stuff like that. It's a little complicated. I mean, I used to umpire baseball, and I still hated Abel Baker, Charlie Daniel batting questions on umpires exam, because batting out of orders and stuff like that and double switches, it was a confusing headache, and it obviously has to be for the umpires and the broadcasters trying to explain, well, he's coming in for the pitcher, but he's not hitting in the pitcher spot, and yada yada yada. Another rule it looks like they're going to be bringing in, probably not till for another couple of years, is the looks like they're going automated strike zones. They're trying to still perfect it in the National League. And essentially what they're doing is they are going to put sensors on either side of the dugout that basically scan where home plate is, and then they'll scan where the strike zone is on the batter. They'll set up a virtual box, ball goes through the virtual box, the umpire who's wearing a headpiece will get a ding or a buzz, and the ding is for a strike, and he signals strike. If it's a buzz, means it's a ball outside the zone. And it takes all of the preferential treatment that certain pitchers get. I mean, God, if John Smoltz had an automated strike zone, he probably wouldn't be in the Hall of Fame. But yeah, the automated strike zone looks like it's going to come in probably 2024 by the looks of it. And then the big one so far that they've agreed on is they're going to ban the shifts. If you've got a right-handed batter, you've got pretty much everybody but the first baseman on the left side of the field. And then vice versa with, say, with the third baseman. He's probably only playing short or maybe even behind second. They're going to be basically putting in an illegal defense penalty. I don't know how they'll enforce it. They'll just, maybe umpires will call time and make the players go into the right positions, or maybe add a. That's the only thing I can think of really is if you're going to create a rule, you have to create a penalty to punish for rule breakers. And I guess in this case, it's just basically the umpires just yelling time and getting the shortstop or the second baseman on the right side or left side of second base. Have two infielders on each side of second base, and have three outfielders. Just traditional baseball rules. Honestly, I prefer banning the shift. It makes a bit of a mockery of the game, where you line up everybody on one side of the field. And it makes the game look bad because let's face it, it makes the hitters look bad. If you can't just even say slap a bunt down where there's no no fielders, it makes the game look bad. And I'd rather just see even say ground balls getting through for a base hit. Those seeing eye singles that get through. It makes the game a bit more interesting to me. Because right now, you're also with those. Usually, it's the pull hitters are power hitters, and it gives them a chance to even get batting averages a bit higher. Because the Major League Baseball batting averages with shifts and adjusted defense and stuff like that is like the average Major League Baseball average is like 240, 245, and it looks bad. I really don't know what else to say. But yeah, I'm really glad that both sides, one of their few agreements is to ban the shifts. I don't know what the Tampa Bay Rays are going to do now because, I mean, they were the kings of it with Madden and Kevin Cash. But they're going to, I mean, you can't adjust your defenses anymore. I mean, you might line them up as close to second base as humanly possible, but Kevin Cash won't be able to put the second baseman on the third base side of second base, or possibly four outfielders. Three in the outfield, four in the infield, pitcher and catcher. That's it. But another thing they're doing, it looks like they're going to be making the bases a bit wider. They say to avoid injuries. The only base I wouldn't mind seeing extended is what they do for softball rules, and putting basically almost another base beside first, so when they're running through, they can touch that safety bag on the outside. That they have that in softball, and it's to avoid injuries and collisions. And I wouldn't mind that in Major League Baseball. If anything, it also could make the umpire's life a little bit easier. So you're not staring right at the one position, and you could see, and you might get blocked out by the first baseman's foot or not. So that's I don't know about expanding second or third, but making the bases a little bit bigger. But I wouldn't mind that, just to avoid any injuries or collisions. Because like the last thing you need is somebody breaking an ankle or possibly concussion with two heads colliding. But I am itching for me. It's funny how you say, "Oh, spring training games don't matter" or stuff like that. I'm recording this on Tuesday, March 8th, and we have missed about a week and a half so far of spring training baseball. And for weekends in March, I don't mind watching at least the first few innings of Jays on Sportsnet, or if Sportsnet picks up the American coverage. It's a fun way to kill about an hour or so until the single and double A players at the field, and then it's at that point even the announcers stop talking about the game. They're just talking about these players that could possibly make an impact or could possibly be trade bait to boost up the team at the trade deadline. With Major League Baseball this year, I know a lot of people, including my friend Griff, who we're still doing the E8 podcast. We're hopefully doing another episode soon. At this point, you keep going, you're going to lose fans. Both sides need to get a deal done soon. Apparently, as I'm recording this, tonight's the deadline, the absolute final deadline, if you believe that, for a 162 game season. I doubt it's going to happen. Ask anybody. I've been saying since probably January, maybe even as late as February, that Memorial Day weekend in the States, or the weekend after May 2-4 up here in Canada, is probably going to be opening day weekend. I don't think they get a deal done for at least another month and a half. I don't think the players wanted to play in April, especially the ones who have to play up north with no roof, like Minnesota, like New York, Boston. They don't want to go from Florida, sunny, warm Florida in March, to bitterly cold New England, New York, or Milwaukee in April. I when they say, "Oh, we really care about the fans," I find that full of crap. If you really cared about the fans, you would have started negotiations as soon as the lockout started in December. The fact that they waited to about 6 weeks to start negotiations, and those are only like 10, 15-minute negotiations. It's like, thank you, F you, bye. It shows to me they really didn't care about the fans. And any talk about we caring about the fans, to me, throw it in the garbage, because I'm not buying it. Um, yeah, so that's where I'm going with the lockout right now, is talk to me when you get a deal done. But the upcoming rule changes I am looking forward to, especially the banning of the shifts. Because, again, teams like Tampa Bay and hell, even Toronto, because let's face it, Charlie Montoya came from Tampa. It'll be interesting how they adjust to it. And to see guys who are pure power hitters but can't get ground balls through the infield, they're going to be the beneficiaries of this. Again, tell me what you guys think. Use the hashtag up here, Born Sports, and tell me what you think. And if you have any questions, leave it in the chat, and I'll get back to it as soon as I can. And I'll be back next week with an episode of Born to Talk About Sports.